Excellent connection.
Strange.
No issues for anyone?
I've got my system seems fine over here. I'll run an internet speed test. Just well, I guess now that we're hopping on a game now, but
Round two. Alright, so Salof's going with a slightly different tactic of not discarding any armor. Different than last time, just going for a head-on ramming. Thinks he can cut through the ship faster than it can cut through him. I don't think this is gonna work out for him, personally.
Finn is aiming deeper into Southhez, which means his shots are landing broad and not focusing directly in one space.
Yeah, directly cutting through Finn, that's not what I was expecting. It seems as though the armor held up enough. The other ship was not capable of flanking quickly enough to be a problem.
Yeah, that looks like a quick and easy game. One thing with deck cannons or any kind of turret weapon like that is you can benefit from aiming at someone's surface, so your shots aren't landing across their entire surface, but instead landing on one focus point.
More importantly, breaching a hole rather than trying to aim at a specific target.
And then from there, you can destroy their insides while leaving all their armor just standing there.
Okay, so
it's a lot faster than the previous match.
So now Finn decides who bans first. That could be the same as last time where Finn bans first, or Finn could make Salof's ban first.
Finn bans the rail. Seems like South has a reputation with tractor beam rails.
Yeah, he likely saw the entire last tournament, so... So Silas can likely cause the same situation, probably, if he bans the same things again. But that might make it so that Finn bans the Ion instead. Like Silas going for it.
It could lead to wall versus wall. I really want to see a tractor beam nuke ship in the tournament.
Well, the issue is with nukes is that they have such a long delay as opposed to rails that like instantly punish any overturn.
I've managed to make it work, though. It's like you get more of your benefit out of making sure that they can't shoot you while you're exposed to them. So you can kind of have a more better like built ship while getting close and not have too much damage.
The Salifs can go with the same ships. Let's see if Finn changes tactics at all. Staring head-on at Salifs was not the right move, it would seem.
I'm really surprised Finn didn't try changing things up. Yeah, this ain't...
Oof, that's an awful position. Finn Doesn't have thrusters firing at all.
And that should be the end of that. I was gonna say that I'm really surprised he didn't go up against the wall because I think he might have had some kind of chance against the wall.
Yeah, I thought the wall would have just like got stuck on the front and died.
Especially how it's little modules, and once you split it in half, it's a lot harder to pilot because you're not piloting indirect control anymore.
I guess that's the first round over. Thank you for joining, Finn. Unfortunately, that is it.
Okay, Immortal and Blaze up next.
Yes, Mortal and Blaze. Silas is moving on. Blaze is a known player. Immortal was a very successful player in tournaments they joined. That they had very awful connection issues. Like, truly beyond compare.
Yeah, we shall see how this goes. Maybe he'll buy a new internet plan.
Well, they said that he was messing around and trying to make it approved or such. Okay, I have to reset the lobby because of course I do.
You have to reset the rules. You got that on a preset. Oh, yeah, you
Yes.
got it. I see it. I see it.
See if Immortal is there or Imterran. No, it's just see if they in the lobby. Let's see if they can join the game.
There we go. Your ship file folder structure has to be pretty expansive right now.
Just have to save all these ships. The main reason the stream was delayed is because everybody submitted their ships last second, so I had to save like half an hour. I had to spend half an hour saving them all.
Do you keep ships after a tournament, or do you just delete the files?
I've considered uploading them to the Steam Workshop, where it's just like this tournament, and now you can look at all the ships. But that's something I've yet to set up.
For me, every ship I like ever build on or whatever, even if it's junk, I throw it in one giant folder I have called my
Oof.
archive, and it's full of so many like just weird things.
Yeah, that sounds like an irritating thing to deal with.
It's pretty much a garbage bin, but I can like look up it. It's because lost ships deletes after what, 5 or 10? I can't remember.
So Blaze decides to go against the rail and nuke ship, which is very interesting. Not what I was expecting. I would have thought that Blaze would use his point defense and missile orbiter to test. No, if you do that, then then the opponent would just make it so you use the nuke ship against it, which would be not ideal. This is going to be very interesting. Blaze can probably just stay at range, while Immortal just kind of bounces off the front with the rails. Very good example of the connecting. Immortal actually has a more stable connection than Blaze. Very impressive. I'm glad, to say the least.
That is very rare. Oh, Blaze using a combining technique.
Yes. So, assuming Blaze points in the right direction, then Immortal won't be capable of dealing damage through the shields. And Blaze can fire using the missiles around the rock. The clipping technique to get a very narrow profile. And not a good position. I think he's in range.
Ooh. Oh, he turned well.
Almost bad. And if he can reload the rails fast enough, would be bad. Immortal should probably be holding his rail fire in case the opponent makes another overturn mistake. Because, like, they'll just bounce off of the shields as is. Now the nukes come into play, presumably.
Oh, that could have been very devastating, but it seems like they're missing. Never mind. Yep, actually they did.
Yeah, it's very difficult to aim nukes properly, and even if you do aim them properly... Oh, well, just shoot through it, and it doesn't matter.
That. And now things are disconnecting, right? Things are falling off.
They're it's still kind of connected, but he can't move. Like, he doesn't have control on his movement system because the control room was destroyed. So, Immortal just has to kill this corpse, and then he's fine.
Yeah, I don't think even if all the ammo was spent, it'd take you like just not enough launchers to deal with it. But now it's just finished the job, so that's
Now
game.
Blaze decides who bans first. Only going over this in such excruciating detail because hopefully people will remember as they're watching the stream how it works for their matches. So now it is just the rail ship. I think that's a tractor beam railgun. Could just be a traditional rail orbiter. Blaze bans.
AI.
I was doing. You can do that to force players to unready. If Immortal readies, then I can't take away the ship.
Oh,
So this is not. It doesn't look like a great position because tractor beam rails are pretty good against avoiders. Like, you can win with them, but you're not. It's not very likely to occur. So it's Blaze first up against, or it's Immortal Sky Island Avoider. Excellent pate versus Blaze as you spin me right round. And having,
Blaze almost has full length rails. They're sevens.
yeah, and it's definitely a very classic tractor beam railgun. So now Immortal has to tilt his left side to be further away, but can't overdo it, otherwise Blaze will just fire through the left side and only go through like one shield or such. So it's a very delicate balance where you want to cover the side, excellently done, but not overturn, while simultaneously always playing keep away from the tractor beam ship so that it doesn't get free shots on you.
Oh, here might be a chance down the middle. And
Oof.
that managed to avoid a reactor.
That wasn't critical damage, but losing the large shield is going to put him back a lot.
I think that was kind of purposeful because in the middle there was all that armor.
Maybe? Going for a large shield is definitely going to be a more consistent option, but it comes at the cost of not dealing as much damage. But now Immortal is in a bad position because he has to use the side shields to block his center.
Also, one thing is if he gets a angled hit on him, he's not going to use his armor to protect his reactor,
Yeah.
such as could be happening right here. Oh, this is very bad. Whoa,
Whoa.
nothing blue?
Somehow misses all of the potential shots from the perfect launch position.
That could have taken out 2 reactors.
That could have won the
And
game instantly. Blaze really should have fired at the rear thrusters.
you taking out a thruster pack throws off pretty much any movement and potentially control. I don't think it ruined control, but it put him in that position where he's getting closer to losing control.
Yeah, it's once you lose a thruster setup in this matchup, you can't win because you need it to resist the tractor beams, and then it'll just like throw you around. So Immortal not moving right now. Blaze firing at the left side, not sure why when the center is already weaker. And the longer Blaze takes to do damage, the harder time he's gonna have, because once rails start getting shut offline or destroyed, then it's much harder to break through the shields.
Seems like another somehow not doing anything. All the shields are down though, but that armor managed to hold it off.
Yes, and he lost the large shield as well, so it's looking worse and worse.
Blaze doesn't seem to have any serious damage.
Immortal needs to rotate a lot faster there, and is going to be rotated. See if he can go over rotation.
One issue with being at that angle is a lot of his weapons are clipping on each other.
Yes, that's an issue of like if you want to protect your segments, you have to rotate really sharply, which makes it so that your weapons have a lot reduced effectiveness. The other issue is that Blaze can just rotate more, and suddenly there's all that armor in the way and you can't target the weapons anymore.
All the shields are down on that side.
Fortunately, the shields seem to be holding up when they're fired at, but it's going to be a very rough ride for Immortal if he's going to claw his way back.
One more good hit on that side piece, and it's
Oof.
that is a. I don't know why those shots are missing. Maybe he's not aiming. Maybe he's trying to aim at something behind to get that more precise shot instead of a broad shot on a reactor.
I would guess that he's maybe trying to get the control rooms, but that's the strangest thing. Like, he can aim anywhere and deal lethal damage, but he hasn't.
Yeah, he's gonna win regardless, but
Probably, but it definitely could have been sooner by a large factor, I would say.
there he
These,
didn't have. I think he might have clipped on himself or something
these are
from
just some
turning
of
too
the
quickly.
worst, unluckiest shots I've seen in some time.
Also, note that Blaze's barrel has a little diamond pieces in them, so if he turns too quickly, he is almost certainly going to be having his own rails hit his armor.
It hasn't seemed like that's been an issue yet.
The shot before this one, I think a couple of them got caught on it, but it's not changing anything.
Yeah, Immortal recognizes it and forfeits, understandably.
So now we're at 1-1.
Now Immortal decides. Let's see if he tries to get a different situation here. He definitely doesn't want to be in that position again. I think that it would be ideal for Immortal to have the Avoider versus the Nuke Tip.
Oh yeah, especially with
So,
how good avoiders are at dodging.
yeah. So I mean, I would say that Immortal would give it to Blaze so he has the 2 ban options to get rid of the rail and missiles. Honestly, like, the nuke ship seems like it's the least consistent of Blaze's 3 options. Especially since all 3 of Immortal's ships seem fast enough to consistently dodge as well.
Immortal's got a weird ship on the left. It's got like armor that's held out by structures hidden behind shields. Hidden in front of shields.
Is exactly what I was saying. Depends on how trustworthy Immortal thinks his avoider skills are. I would definitely ban the missile orbiter.
Yep. See, if Blaze has good hotkeys, he might be able to kind of just spray his nukes wide.
Yes, Blaze has a ton of practice with these ships, I think.
I'm gonna assume he has his nukes where he can fire like a third here, a third there, and a third there.
We can actually check. So he has 4 different hotkeys for his nukes, which I think is a little bit too little for all the nukes he has, since you'll be firing in as many ways as possible. But it'll still probably be enough if they land. It depends. I think this entirely depends on how effective Immortal is at being evasive, because Blaze can just run at him, so, like, being hit by nukes is unavoidable, but how well can you mitigate it?
Yeah. Also, Blaze has strong shield structure. Though I guess that doesn't matter too much because Immortal has a what do you call them? Electro bolts.
Raptors.
Yeah,
Getting rid of the hooks that would have been potentially a hazard to catch on Blaze's ship, which is what you likely don't want. That's his thinking anyway.
Blaze pretty much has like a nuke bus.
Yeah.
I actually have a ship like that I painted to look like a school bus.
So now the issue is that Blaze is just going to continue this movement, and now the nukes are going to be launched from places that they're just going to hit the ship as soon as they spawn.
Oh, that could be. It was somehow missed. I
Fortunately,
thought those were gonna hit the reactor from behind. It looked like they had a chance of getting the reactor.
only minor damage, but Blaze might do this again, and there's no shields up this time. So Immortal definitely doing the right thing of being as evasive as possible, trying to keep away from the nukes and dodge them. Trying to
We already got
push.
shields are back online now.
Yes. The issue is that, like, as advantageous as this position is right now for dodging Blaze's left side, once the right side comes back, they can just fire at him. That might be a problem. Blaze recognizes this. Those are gonna miss.
A good amount of them hit, but they're all just hitting where shields are, even if the shields weren't there.
Yeah, it's
Oh wait,
like
one
if
of his shield. There's the damaged shield module.
yes,
Some damage.
if you could punish the lowered shields, then that would have been a good move. But unfortunately, he just lost a bunch of ammo there for no gain.
Some weapons were taken out though.
Well, not by that
Okay.
volley, but yes, he has lost a little bit of weapon. Yeah, just a little bit of weapons,
He
which will
took
make
out
him.
5, but with how expensive nukes are and ammo and all that's
Yeah, it definitely hurts to see them bounce off like that or just completely miss. So Blaze is recognizing that Immortal is always going to be kiting, so he's trying to get Immortal to move at him and then jump on top of him with his superior forward thrust.
he'd also stand the most to benefit from a closed arena. So waiting's like nothing to he to worry about.
Yeah. So Blaze body blocking Immortal with his ship, which is definitely the right move. Those are gonna
Oh,
hurt.
here comes some big hits.
Oof, unfortunately, it hit in between modules, which is the least effective place it's gonna be because it only takes out weapons and not like the
I
main
took out one
shields.
shield. Took out one shield actually,
Oh, impressive.
and really damaged another.
But yeah, as long as the shields remain up, he can just like tank them for the most part. And even if you only have one blaster does not run out of ammo.
And with the better maneuverability, Immortal will be better off when there's a completely closed ring.
Yeah. The Blaze is retreating again to get his nukes to reload, might be building up speed to move forward to ram at Immortal. Joust, perhaps. Immortal not paying attention to his
Oh,
surroundings. This might be bad.
a blaze coming in sideways.
Unfortunately, Immortal's still moving in patterns that aren't really hittable unless he auto-fires the nukes.
Oh, that could be big. That took out a sizable chunk of weapons and somehow no shield modules. What?
It took out a few small ones at least,
Yeah.
which are
There's a
important.
large one, which let's check for fires. That might make something. Nope, no fires.
Apparently, Blaze is at 94% HP, Immortal's only 89. So Blaze is
Immortal
technically doing better.
Immortal does have a serious decrease in firepower now.
Yes. It's not the biggest issue if you can just detonate the nuke launchers because they explode by themselves. But Immortal is very passively playing here, I would say, where he's just waiting for Blaze to come to him. If I would say that you would want to be aggressive and never let Blaze just retreat and load his nukes again because your weapons as an avoider do not turn off and his do.
Yeah, I think Blaze goes for a drive-by, then walks off. But he's only ever firing one side. He hasn't.
Yeah, that's kind of strange. It's like ideally you'd be firing both sides so that there's more nukes to dodge and less
I
chance
think
to succeed.
maybe not worried about because like now that Immortal's so damaged, I don't think really there's much of a chance.
Those aren't gonna hit.
Oh, I think a shield module just fell. Nope,
Uh,
it somehow stayed up again.
Asteroid got in the way. If not for that, that would have been a very clean dodge. But he's
I
coming
think
back.
Immortal's focusing on accuracy because of ammo limitations with nukes.
Yeah, he's not taking advantage of his hotkeys. He's just using the entire side in each volley.
The fact that all those hits did not take out shield is gonna hurt because now those still all the shields up except one major one.
Yeah, like the four small shields or the six small shields behind each large shield is very difficult to deal with at times. Auto firing nukes again.
That looks deadly.
Unfortunately, he's not staggering his auto firing, and the issue is that they will all hit the same large shield. Part of the benefit to having them being in the normal launches is that they hit at separate times. What Blaze would want to do is have like four different hotkeys and then auto fire them sequentially, then turn them back all off. As is, Immortal is doing nothing, but Blaze is doing no damage.
Seems like Immortal's trying to let the ammo decide this.
I wouldn't necessarily say that Blaze is completely out of it in a pushing match, though. Blaze just has to push Immortal really far away and then come back. Ideally, you would be killing your opponent before it gets to a rod scenario. Because there's way too much chance in the event.
Seems like yet another no fire drive by. Immortal will benefit a lot from taking out some engines on Blaze, but it's very hard.
Yeah,
How
the only way
fast he
that would
moves.
ever happen is that like it goes through the front, which, clearly has been the problem thus
Oh, a double fire. There, that's it. Two big reactors.
Well,
It's only one.
now Immortal has a little bit more of a problem.
Though he is a lot faster now, so his dodging might have improved.
Immortal seems to be not leaving range, still kiting, but is now actively firing, which is a difference. Blaze surprisingly being aggressive when he has no ammo stored.
Oh, and taking valuable ring damage. That's never a good thing, especially if you might go to a pushing match. Though with this gap, if he has even one barrage left over, when it gets to a pushing match, he wins.
Yeah, like singular nukes can be absolutely lethal, and he still has several. Looking at him, he has an entire one volley left on his left side and roughly half of his, so maybe 3 or 4 on his right side.
She also has ammo stored that should be able to do another load.
Fortunately, that auto fire was not properly aimed, so Immortal doesn't even really dodge. That's the issue of auto firing, is that it's very unwieldy.
I think he might be better off if he didn't fire in groups now that like most of the armor is gone. You just want to have something land anywhere rather than trying to bust through anything.
Yeah, it can't really be stressed enough that you want to have as many hotkeys as you can reasonably deal with when you're firing with nukes, because the more nukes that are going in different directions, the harder it is to deal with. In fact, in a certain sense, I would potentially even advise fire at will over consistent firing, because at least there's some chaos there, and since Immortal is completely unshielded for the majority of his ship,
Both driving out, but Blaze is going much further out of the ring.
however, this is a very good position where all the nukes are directly aimed at Immortal, and Immortal didn't break off in the other direction like he needed to, so all of these are just gonna
Oh,
hit.
that's very deadly. Oh nope, there went that last grouping, and now there's just one control room.
And Immortal forfeits.
And there we
Nicely
go, that's
done.
game. Very slow pace, but cutting away game. Blaze progresses.
Hmm. So, game night in Marius. Marius's use.
Okawa is able to commentate if you need.
It's fine. Uh,
I lost connection.
Oh, maybe you should join.
I have no idea why that happened, but I was just randomly.
Oh, presumably because of the connection issue. It says it's fine, but it might not be fine.
Hopefully that's just a one-time thing and not some ominous warning.
That would be an issue. So let's see. Game night is higher seed. So this, I think this is the first time where somebody has chosen to let the other opponent ban first. Interesting to note that Game Night as a veteran player has spent more of his credits consistently. Whereas Marius has 5,000 overall. Not a huge difference, but it is worth noting.
It's like a couple pieces of armor.
Yeah, and 4 armor tiles can make all the difference at a time. Both will. So let's see. The nuke ship, Marius should definitely ban the TB rail. Because it would just flip him and kill him. That would not go well. Unless he just gets critical shot on the first try. That would be bad. Game night. Be a possibility though.
Game Night has an angled railgun. Not arrow, excuse me, ion. Yes, I was correct.
Disconnects the back armor plates. Understandable. He's going to be focusing on dodging. Very interesting design. I think this is going to be one of the few diagonals in the entire tournament.
So it seems like a very fast design.
Yes, it's extremely fast. A lot more than one might guess, as I've played against it. It is going to have no trouble dodging nukes, so I would say its main issue is going to be breaking through the shields.
It's actually having trouble powering some of the ions for some reason.
Is
I think it was just starting ion struggles.
Yeah. This is not an ideal position for Game Night because he doesn't have any of his thrusters ramped up, so once Marius launches the nukes, it's gonna hurt. Fortunately, just bounced off of armor, but the next one's gonna go straight through the shields, I would say.
He does have 5 on each side, though, so...
I suppose that's true, but I'm pretty sure one nuke can damage multiple shields if they're really close to each other like that.
Yeah, I think so, too.
And...
If they also damage, like, what's inside of a shield, just barely.
And it's gonna be 15 nukes, that's gonna just cut through 5 shields, like it's nothing. Game Night doing an excellent job of focusing, though.
Almost took out... At least... Almost took out 2 of the shields. The reactor was probably safe. A lot of heavy damage taken.
So Mary is spinning to try and spread damage and knock Game Night around so he's not doing damage to his front anymore. The maneuverability of Game Night's design really shining here with how effectively he can focus despite not having aiming capability, though he could be aiming his prisms now.
About to take out a large shield and almost took out another one on that far side.
Reloaded. Gonna bounce off of armor again. I think that's almost all the armor, and it did get rid of all of the aiming prisms. So Game Night is noticeably not firing anymore, so he's gonna have to retreat and assess his ions, his prisms. Kind of shocking that he didn't have any backup designs. This is typically why you want to aim prisms at dead space, not at other prisms.
There are some exposed reactors that might blow. Oops.
Oof.
Yep.
Nice. Despite the fact that he had
one control room.
And despite the fact that he didn't have any ions, or his ions are not in a good position, he's still managing to do a lot of damage with the awful combinations that have resulted.
He's got to watch out for these weird nukes from the dead portion. Ooh!
Oh,
Oh! Yeah. Wait, that control room's almost dead.
he's not out yet.
That control room's almost... Oh my gosh. That was close.
Very impressive.
The dead side of the ship came back from the dead. That was very close.
Never discount corpses. They will mess you up.
Especially when they have nukes on. You never know when they're sneaky and you don't know to dodge them and they just come out of nowhere.
Yeah, nukes definitely can be a game changer if they come from the unexpected angles. Alright, so as game night 1,
It's yeah, you got it.
oh, missile kite. Not a fan of the missile kite. Very interesting. Could this be going to the same thing? It's certainly a... Yeah, this
Is it?
is...
It
this
was
is
a close battle.
this is definitely like an ideal match for both of them, where they're both confident they can win. Game Night's going to be disconnecting his rear armor again, yeah. And Marius is going to be... Marius, whatever. Going to be attacking again. Ideally, he can line up shots better and make it so that Game Night doesn't roll them so well.
I've just realized Game Night has explosives to disconnect the back part of his ship for some reason.
Yes, he used those in a game and he instantly lost, so I'm not sure how you're supposed to use them effectively, but he has them if necessary.
I guess it's different than pushing forfeit.
So I'm kind of surprised Marius isn't taking advantage of any of the asteroids. This is a pretty good shot. No, those are all gonna miss.
Ooh,
Oh,
that took out the engines.
took out engines, so Game Night's gonna be hindered for the rest of the match. Oof. Oh,
Game
that
Night
hurts.
taking out a large shield. That Game Night kind of wishes he kept that rear armor right now.
Yeah, the speed might have made it so he didn't dodge the nukes though, so you never know.
Almost targeting an exposed reactor.
Yeah, Marius is having a lot of issues trying to keep himself safe.
Oh, there. That's a big one.
Ship splits in half way earlier.
Let's see if Game Night remembers to watch out.
Yeah, Marius is going to be wanting to drive around that corpse of his.
Right now, the corpse is facing directly at Game Night, but it's now out of range, so...
And just to disconnect armor on the right side, left side.
That control room is exposed again. That's looking to be it.
And Game Night wins. Very interesting.
That one was a little quicker than the last one because of that exposed reactor got destroyed.
So Lumistro versus Plaus now. GG. Let's see where they are. Come on, guys. They're both signed up. Lunastro is in the lobby call, but they're deafened, so they might be away from the keyboard. Plaus is also nowhere to be seen. How irritating.
You're gone.
Plaus is in the lobby. Lunastro's not.
Well, oh, we got Plaus.
Plaus was practicing with Jump Nuke all of yesterday. I was there. It was very fun to fight. Lunastro is arriving at some point.
Game Knight's kind of known for his ion piloting. I remember last time he almost defeated that Morbiter that won. What was the name? Percy Gem. He almost
Yeah.
defeated Percy Gem with a ion ship that didn't even have any rear armor.
Yeah, he did very well. It's both of those players definitely deserve to win, and they were doing a lot of work.
Close match.
Lunastro's on their way.
Neon. Oh wait, I can't say that because of the delay. I gotta type it.
It's proof that no one reads announcements. The title card ship is Lunastro's first scion. So Lunastro is the higher seed, so Lunastro decides. Lunastro goes first and gets rid of the TB rail.
Like everyone's bringing a TB rail and a Morbiter, which promptly get banned.
Yeah, I mean, they were demonstrating how powerful they were. The Lunastro. So, 2 missile orbiters. Not to love about a mirror match.
Boss forgetting his paint job, which means he has a minus 10% speed.
Yes. No paint buff for him. Both of these ships seem to have adequate... No, Plaus does not have adequate defenses in between launchers, but has more. Whereas Lunastro has less, but has armor between all of them, so there's going to be less chaining. So I would say Plaus is more of a glass cannon, but is more of a cannon. This analogy is falling apart. That's already damage to Plaus's rear. That's not great. Both of these are very similar designs. I would say that this is the most common archetype of like a single line of huge thrusters and then small shields on the front. Small shields are actually surprisingly tanky, at times more so than large shields because you can just stack them so well.
Big hit. That was a big hit. One thing to note is Lunastro is firing all of his missiles in groupings instead of letting them come out one by one, versus Plaus is letting them go. And firing them in a grouping is what caused that giant hit against Plaus.
It could just be better logistics as well that makes them last longer in concentrated areas. That's the supply line, but that won't matter since the missiles were gone anyways. Let's see. I think Plaus is going to take more damage. Yep. And then there's a fire as well. The Lunastro seems to have this pretty cut and dry.
Even the front armor is taking big hits on Plaus.
Those shields are starting to be stressed, which is never a good sign. Volley's gonna hurt. Yeah, those like hammer strikes of consistent missiles. All the supply lines were cut, so now the missiles are very limited for Plaus.
Actually looking at the missile modules, and it seemed they have very, very similar missile modules. In fact, I would say not quite identical, but practically identical.
Well, Lunastro's either microing their missiles a lot better or has better crew setups to make them more consistent.
They're holding fire. I just looking at it, I can tell that they hold fire a little bit to let them
Yes.
build up.
So the reason you want to do this is it makes it so that the missiles are more bursty and concentrated, so that when they hit really hard rather than just like kind of scattering across the opponent's front. This
That's
is gonna hurt.
particularly important for the shields. Oh, all those thrusters are down. But
Yeah,
yeah,
almost
that
got the control room.
almost down. And the reason that is because of the grouping that made the shields ineffective.
Now, Lunastro does an excellent job here. Um, so let's give these back again. So Plaus lost, so they get to decide which ships to ban or who bans first. So everybody hates the TB rail. Must have been experiencing them in general competitive server arrangements. Decided it was not worth the trouble. So missile over again. That's not what Plaus wanted, unfortunately, I would say. So go back into the missile orbiter. Yeah, that's what I was. However,
That's
Lunastro slaughtered the competition with this last tournament.
it was very notorious. Then didn't I think he got beat by another Ion, right? It was game night or something like that. I can't remember.
I think it was Silas that just like TB flipped it.
Oh yeah, that's right, that's right. But the side armor on this is insane.
Yeah, it's definitely tuned properly to be able to take on missile orbiters. Disconnected the armor, so one can presumably aim a lot better. The Scion is the cover ship of the tournament. Thumbnail. Painted by me. It was the reward Lunastro got for placing second in the last tournament. Or third in the last tournament. So nicely done. And Lunastro is probably going to be wanting to orbit, as you know, this ship is tuned to do, and just drill through the front while tanking missiles on the corners and shields. Unless Plaus overturns, in which case Lunastro can just jump on top of him and get through the sides.
Oh, that's looking deadly. Though not too significant, but there's some internal fires.
Yeah, and if that occurs again, then Lunastro is just going to be able to cut the supply lines. Is running out of rear armor though, and side armor is getting thinner. So there
And
is...
once engines die, it's gonna severely affect Luna's ability to fight.
Yeah, it's gonna be a problem. I don't think that Plaus can get out of this though, and that control room is looking like it's gonna get crispy.
He doesn't even have his thrusters online properly. That's looking like game right there. Yep.
Lunastro wins very quickly, very impressively. Nicely done. Definitely demonstrating that they were a very strong contender in the last tournament and will continue to be in this one. Slowking and Narron.
It's the first match of the second 8 grouping.
Yes. So Narron is a new face. Slowking is a established face, very well known. Is the second seed, and that means that they're a very known player, very scary. Probably one of the worst ones to be paired up against. And unfortunately, Narron is on their very first attendance.
That is a welcoming hazing.
Well, it's the Cosmoteer tournament. You can't do much about it.
Oh yeah.
Narron was also one of the few people that uses a lot of different ships. Or more than just a few. More than just like the singular ships. Like there's a few traps or flanker pairs, which is two 750k ships. But Narron actually has a group of 3 and a group of 4.
How is that gonna get displayed on the 5 to pick
I
from?
was going to be using an AI player
Oh,
actually.
that makes sense. You can have 3 AIs and show, or 2 in the player and show them all.
I'm pretty sure this is the right guy. Seems accurate.
That is a lineup of ships. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes, there is.
Oh yeah, Cyrus has a pair as well. But this, I noticed some the tarnished 4 grouping doesn't go to 1.5 million.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he could fit an extra ship, but he didn't mention which one he wanted to be an extra, so technically he just said 4. So Slowking is higher, so Slowking.
That's only like a $1 million or what do you call it? 1.1 million lineup right there. So it kind of makes sense to just force him into that if you want to take it easy. But I'm sure Slowking doesn't need to do that, so he.
I don't think that, with all due respect, I don't think there's any way Tarnished wins any of these matchups. It is stacked, to say the least.
Yeah. That 2 Morbiders? Or is...
Those were two 750k rail traps.
No, I'm looking at the remaining ships. He's got a tractor beam. Maybe that's the tractor beam nuke I was hoping for.
I'm pretty sure it's nukes. It better be nukes. Yes, it is nukes.
Definitely want to see that one go, but I have a feeling I might get banned.
Slowking. Hopefully the next tournament will have a much better streamlined process of this. Because, fortunately, I have to explain it every time.
Yeah. Glad we get to see a 1.5 mil versus 1.5 mil.
Yeah, it's kind of easier that way.
Instead of the chaos of an under budget fleet.
So, Slowking with the Sleeping Terror, which is now painted. It was the nuke ship from the last tournament that had the very stylish match that also killed like 3 different opponents through its point defense. Versus Tarnished with the atrocious ion combat. There's no other way to say it.
Yeah, I would suggest following up on Saris' Ion video.
The first volley is brutal. Takes out a huge portion of health.
Also, those Ions have like 0 sustain at all.
Slowking somehow misses an unmoving target.
It
Truly
is
a
time to
player of his
bully him.
caliber. Slowking bullying the player, not even bothering to use the nukes at this point.
And there that goes.
And takes out the control room. Alright, so I do love Slowking's orbiter tractor beam ship. Highly responsive to prayers. An excellent name if ever there was one. Third one. And Slowking bans 2 options. The Slowking locks him into the ion ship again. And now we get to see the rail traps.
They should be able to just outrange and then potentially chain all the ions and end it that way.
So let's see, Slowking is just gonna flank, and then there's not very many shields for the large reactors, an entire 1 for the rear 4 large reactors. So Slowking's just gonna pop those, and it's gonna be over. Probably gonna be the fastest match, I think.
Yeah, everything should chain
Now Slowking
without
Slowking doesn't even need to be like properly flanking. Just like taking pot shots will get through it.
That
And it,
somehow did not end things. Just a sliver of health left. And there it goes.
and there it is it. Slowking moves on. Unsurprisingly, unfortunately. Thank you for attending, Narron. We hope to see you again with hopefully improved ships and improved goods.
There's also One Eye's guide to check out, and I have a couple of videos myself, so
Yes,
there's a lot of improvements.
there's a lot of informational content out there that one would recommend. Ochi? You know, given that they're not here, I'm gonna start doing this, setting it up accordingly.
Oh yeah. I think I actually learned how to properly use ions from